We'll see.
So we are, yeah, man. The Greg is gonna be a little bit late, but he said, get started and just, he will catch up maybe 20 minutes later or something like that. He had something on his own, and I don't know if somebody else will join, but I think we can get started, and so we don't waste people time.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for the time. I know you're busy in the new role, new job, so
Yeah, kind
thanks a
of.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but thank you also for pushing it. Like it's amazing. Like suddenly there's like so much interest and everybody's excited, and there's like a lot of people. I also see a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people
Mm-hmm.
interested in the like helping with the Python part. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. I think that's the part that I was telling the guys, that somehow, we got Ihor, we got Victor and Tibor on the C++ side, just pushing commands, and we have a little bit of a bottleneck on this side. So I really want, to get more people involved, so we can just, keep going. If, somebody's busy, is fine. It's just somebody else will catch the the flow, no?
Yeah,
So
it's true.
yeah, I mean, I haven't prepared anything. I just kind of put together this cute
Nice.
page just for, getting people excited. But what I thought that we could do is, first of all, and especially for whoever is watching the video later, just check the resources that are available already. Like, okay, here's GitHub, here's ABC. We have the templates. We have the templates you prepare for the Python API and for the nodes in Grasshopper. So just maybe run through that side. I wanted also to basically check, because it's being done a lot already. I remember before we kind of like slow down, we did a push. So I would like to just check what has been done, and basically check also against all the new wave of things that have been, coming from Victor, Tibor, and Igor. And yeah, so basically these two things is basically check what we have already in place. Uh, Maybe, well, just, I don't know if we have enough quorum today, but maybe decide on what's going to be the next steps, which kind of functions, or which maybe if there is not enough people, we can also ask and do a poll or whatever. But I think it would be nice to have in the next few days just like an idea of how far we want to get, and just put kind of like a deadline and say, okay, we're gonna release a version of the plugin, I don't know, in 2 months time, in 3 months time, and then try to set up some kind of realistic goals. And yeah, and maybe if you don't mind, Koshik, to just run through a live, example of how to use your templates, basically. That's it.
Yeah, just a disclaimer, like it's been super long since I opened it, so I don't
I
know myself.
imagine.
So this is
I
also
imagine.
going to be like a walkthrough
Yeah,
for myself as well. So
no worries. Hi, Patrick. Welcome to the call.
yeah,
Anyway,
just wanted to
okay,
add
so
one more thing.
yeah,
Congrats on getting Tibor into the group, because I remember initially we were
yeah,
like
yeah.
trying to find what he was doing, like how he made the ArchiCAD, the
Yeah.
add-ons, and then like suddenly he's already here in the community. It's super good.
I don't know. He's super generous as well. So he doesn't even work in architectural software anymore. He's
Mm.
onto something else. I think he works for interactive brokers or something like that. So, something completely unrelated. But he was kind enough to join the community and start, putting in our repository all the work that he has done already on his, free time. And yeah, he's super active as well. So yeah, thanks TV, if you are watching later. Anyway, maybe I'll give back to you, Koshik, the screen. Um,
Yeah. Can you see it? Is it visible?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So just a quick walkthrough of what is going on in the repository. This is a mono repo, so meaning like all the development with ArchiCAD, the Python package, the Grasshopper plugin, everything is in like one repository. We just decided it to be easy because multiple people can work with multiple things in the same repository, and also it is easier to keep track of the versioning. The other way which usually people follow is like have three different repositories, one for ArchiCAD, one for Grasshopper, one for Python in this case. And it would be hard because you always have to match like which version of the Python package supports which version of the add-on, or which version of
Yeah.
Grasshopper plugin supports like which version of Python and so on. So we just decided to keep it in one place. So if you notice here, like we have, this is the main folder for ArchiCAD add-on. This is completely outside my area. This is the Grasshopper plugin, and this is the Python package. So
Fantastic.
there's also one more thing which we consciously decided, that the Grasshopper plugin will not be done in .NET or C#. We decided to implement it in Python because one, it's easier to get involved. Like Python is comparatively easy to set up, to start working on it, to start building. And also most of the users are familiar with Python, like creating like simple scripts in Grasshopper, and bringing that into a plugin is much easier because there's less rework because it's already in Python. So that's the reason.
Can I add one more thing? I have received questions and suggestions from people to port these Grasshopper plugin into other visual coding tools like bgraphy and Shock in Blender and things like this. So people is, interested in taking this, and I think using Python it will be a lot easier because all of these platforms can support Python, I think.
Yeah, and it's also cross-platform, so like it solves the Windows Mac problem.
Yeah,
I know.
thank you.
Okay. Okay. Oh, also one more thing to note is the Grasshopper plugin uses a special flavor of Python, which is called IronPython, which is actually built from Python 2.7. That's what Grasshopper and Rhino uses internally. I think Revit also uses the same, but yeah. So how we have built the Python package is to make sure it's both accessible from the latest Python, the Python 3. I don't know, 12 is going on right now.
Yeah.
And also the old flavors. That's why if you notice most of the syntax, even though you can optimize it, it's for the compatibility, we've kept it in certain way. So let's go into the package.
Hi Matthias, welcome to the call. We're just starting, so
yeah, just give me a second, guys. I don't know what's inside this spin file.
No
Okay,
worries,
this is the core.
Actually, there are newer comments in the core file. I remember that I updated some comments in the core. For example, regarding issue management, I guess something in the end of the file.
Yeah, I think something is added. Let's see. Something was refactored. Okay, there's actually a lot. We can go one by one. No worries. Okay, perfect. So first of all, we can ignore this file, tapir.py. This is very specific to the Grasshopper plugin because we need a file with the same name as the package so that it Grasshopper detects it as an inbuilt module. So basically, like while compiling the Grasshopper plugin, I run a script to copy this entire folder inside the Grasshopper folder, then compile it and remove it later. So this is only for that. So we can divide it basically into like two main files. One is the core, one is the parts. The core kind of, it manages linking with the ArchiCAD, handling the connection, handling the ports, the commands. So basically, any command you develop will stay inside the core, and they will follow a certain pattern. I will show that. We'll get to that in soon. And parts are directly the ArchiCAD elements. For example, like right now we have 3 elements here, which is element itself with some types, the classification system, maybe also classification in system. No, it has classification item and the bounding boxes. So bounding box also, it handles both 2D and 3D, as I remember. Yep, it handles both 2D and 3D internally. So this is one part. So if we have to like include more types, ArchiCAD types, then I think this is where we would start. We'll define like what are the different types we need to add, and we can continue. One thing to note is all these classes inherit from this base class, .NET base. This is just, it gives some functionality which is which makes it similar to how a .NET class behaves, just so that nothing breaks on Grasshopper. So this is like, some parts are like very specific to Grasshopper, and some parts are like specific to Python. And if we go into the core, this is where more interesting things are happening. Okay, so yeah, first of all, if we command class handles all the new commands, for example, this is a utility. Let's say there's this command which checks if the connection is alive. So it directly uses the api.isAlive command, which is from the default JSON structure, JSON command, I think. I think this is the, we didn't develop that. This is from the ArchiCAD, from Graphisoft. Similarly, like it has the other commands here. So this is from us, for example. This you can like use to highlight a specific project or an element, and you can like provide the colors. So if you notice, like most of the commands follow the same structure, that it has a parameter and then it has the formatting, and then you just send it. This is the part where the command is actually executed to a link, which brings us to the important class, the link class. The link basically creates a HTTP server connection between the Python instance you're running, the code you're running, and the ArchiCAD instance that is open. So internally, we are just checking if the port resides between these two values, the official recommended values. But this also like brings up a discussion which we had in the Discord a few days back, I think. Like we were talking about like selecting specific ports for different files. This is what I meant. Like from the Python side, you can already select as it's between this range, within this range, you can already select and like run different scripts. You just have to like, if you're working on the console, you just open 2 consoles. If you're working on the Grasshopper side, you just copy paste the component and provide different port numbers. So it should already work. The hard part is figuring out which ArchiCAD file has which port number. I think that has to be implemented on the add-on side. And another thing to note is here there's a method to get all the active ports. I probably wouldn't explain the entire code because that's why we have ChatGPT for. But then feel free to like recommend changes. I think it was a long time ago. I see a lot of things that can be changed. Anyway, so this is the main method which handles all the requests. So basically it's a post request, and you get the result as a command result object. The reason we get it as a command result is because you have to handle different cases. Sometimes it's an error, sometimes it's a list of elements, sometimes it's one element. So just to handle like what is going on, all the different cases, here we have the command result class. This is like heavily inspired from Rhino common, because inside Rhino as well, like you have a command result class for every command you run. Here, I think, oh wait, I think this is the old one. Okay, so what is supposed to happen here is once you get the command, the command result, you can check whether it's success or it's failed. And if it's success, you can unpack it. Here it is. So you can, depending on what type of data you get, whether it's list or a single element or a list of elements or like any specific types, for example. Sorry, I'm not very familiar with the ArchiCAD terminologies. So for me,
That's
everything
okay.
is element. So please bear with me. And of course, let's see. Okay, let's take this one, for example, get all elements. Okay, so here in the command, if you see, like there are two parts. One is the command and then is the parameters, and it differs based on the command. Here, I think there's no command, but if it's a type, there should be, yeah. So there's element type, and this is handled by another specific class, which is the parameters class. If we go back, yeah, it's this one. So this is basically a dictionary. It's a key value pair. So you just you can nest it. You can create just a parameter name. You can, for example, let's go here. If you say the parameters element type, this will be the key. This will be the value. You can also like nest it inside another collection, which is parameters in this case. This part is handled internally, but for more complex parameters, maybe you can also use this. It's funny how like everything I open doesn't have parameter. Ah, yes, it's here. So here, if you see, like there are three layers. Like one layer, it's here, the GYD. The second layer is the system ID. So you can use the parameter class to nest it, and the third layer is taken care of by the package interlink. So this is where we are right now, and let's check the components again. So the info. Yeah, we have get all elements by type. I think we have quite a few, but we still need to add a lot more.
Yeah,
I think there are also like
we run through the. I think we run initially through the official ones, the Graphisoft official JSON commands.
Yeah.
Those were kind of there already, but I'm not sure how much from the from the work from Victor and Tibor has been implemented.
This is actually my comments regarding the issue management. I added recently, a week ago.
Yeah. This is really cool, by the way, Igor.
Thanks. Actually, I was trying to commit to the Tapir while I was trying to resolve my needs, I guess. I'm working now on some kind of communication between Speckle and ArchiCAD, and actually exporting to the BCF was initial for these developments. And without Python commands, it will be pretty hard to work with some add-ons. I have to develop C++ add-on. I am not so skilled in C++. I could follow the logic of existing add-on structure, for example, made by Kovac, made by other guys, but it's pretty hard for me to write the product from scratch on C++. Python is much more convenient. That's why the commands, the amount of components, plenty of commands for Python to for ArchiCAD is really cool thing for any such kind of developer as me. I don't know, and it's really cool to extend this feature, to extend the commands list.
Fantastic.
I see that this is brand new. That's why I was like surprised. Okay, oh, someone has already gotten familiar with the structure.
Yeah,
Nice implementation.
it's my comments actually.
Super cool.
Mm.
So I think I would say like this is the important part because for me, because I'm more familiar with the grasshopper side and
Yeah.
not so familiar with the ArchiCAD side. It would be nice if we could get some like more people into the Python package because like creating the components is also like another structure. It's super easy. We can go through it if we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like it was super hard. Like, it still is super hard to use ArchiCAD because like there's so many. Yeah, the interface is like quite new for me.
Yeah.
There's no command books.
It's a new world for you. I mean, I'm still surprised that you agreed to participate in this project because it's quite specific, right? So
Yeah,
and out of your comfort zone, but fantastic, man.
Yeah.
it's fun.
And if you have access to a copy of ArchiCAD, one of us can give you an overview. I'd be happy to do something like that if you wanted to get familiar.
Yeah,
that would be nice. I mean, that would help me like at least test a few things on my own.
Yeah. Do you still have the license from? Because otherwise, I can re-ask the developer license.
No, actually, I think we didn't have the developer license even back then because we had some issue with the authentication. Remember?
Okay. Well, I will try to get the developer license again and see if this time we make it work. Nice. Okay. So, well, I guess that covers a little bit the where things are. And basically, as I see, we are kind of done with the original JSON commands from Graphisoft, if I'm not wrong. All of them are there. But I'm not sure regarding the commands. I mean, Ihor has developed his own commands for BCF, which is great. And what about all the new functions that were ported by Victor? And did you do any of them, or are we still like we should implement all of them?
Is that a question to me?
Yeah, no, I mean, because let me see, where do we?
Because I think the recent development, and by recent I mean like roughly 18 months, because the last commit I made is 18 months.
Fair enough. Yes.
So a lot of things might have to be updated.
You showed me yesterday or 2 days ago. Let me see. You shared with me this page. No, this is basically the additional JSON commands that have been developed. So get a version. So I think these are all the new, I guess, the new commands from Victor and Tibor. No, these are yours. These are yours. So some teamwork attributes, move elements, library project. Like how hard or how would be the process to implement one of these? It's basically following your template. Like,
I think yes. I'm not sure if this documentation is auto-generator or.
I have no idea. I have no idea. We should call Victor for that. I think he's bad. But it seems auto-generated, no? Did you create this documentation, Igor? I don't hear you. I'm not sure. I see you talking, but I don't hear your voice. Not yet. Sorry.
And now?
Yes.
It's okay?
No, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
I was copying this from C++ file where I
Okay.
was defining the input and output scheme, and actually it's pretty easy. Just copy paste it to the index.html if I recall correctly. So I guess it in repository. Let me see. 1 second. GitHub. It's docs ArchiCAD add-on, and it's actually index.html. Oh no, not index.html. It's in a common definition JavaScript, and there is a list of such schemes. So every command has a list, and you have to modify the headers of each command, for example, export to BCF to define the version, to add some description, and after that you just could copy paste the schemes from C++ file to this one, and it's pretty easy. I can put the link to the chat just to be clear.
And is everything updated for 27? Because some stuff changed between 26 and 27.
Yeah, it's a batch building for different versions. So Victor was putting attention for the building process, and I guess everything have to work fine.
I don't know if you read I guess yes, I saw your comments, Megan, but I think there is an issue with the ARM processors in Mac.
On the Mac.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. Okay.
I'll put the 27 changes just in case into the live code sessions channel. I can't put it into Zoom. Just in case. But like it's basically the attribute related classes that changed that messed up our scripts, sadly.
I see. Okay.
Just FYI, if that wasn't already kind of included.
Okay. Good to know. So yeah, no. So I guess the next steps will be. Sorry, I'm a bit lost. So we'll be starting basically from here, no? Basically getting all the work done already on the C++ add-on and get to put it into the Python API. That's kind of like part of the work in order to keep completing the Python API, which I think is really cool because, maybe some of you don't need to get into Grasshopper to use this, although the initial idea was to build a Grasshopper plugin, but some of you can basically just run with the Python side. But yeah, so this would be one side of the work. The second part is basically the Grasshopper plugin, no? And that's maybe your side, Kaushik, your favorite part? No?
Hey, not really. I have moved on. But I'm actually trying to compile it 1 second.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I think the last time we compiled the plugin, it was also quite a long time ago, no?
Yep.
That's why.
It's actually been a long time since I opened Grasshopper. So
How come? Yeah.
That was sometime last year, right?
Yeah.
That last version.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
going through the files on the GitHub and then on my computer and trying to like align like, okay, what's the new stuff? What's the old
Yeah.
stuff? I got very confused. I'm not from the developer side, so
No,
I
me
was
neither. Me neither. But that's why also we wanted to, you know, get together, even if you're not a developer like me, but you know, at least we have to understand what's there, what resources, and what's available.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think unfortunately we still the most complete version is still the first version from Grzeg, which is the one in Food for Ryan, I think. But that's not even compiled. I think those are just Python nodes in Grasshopper with the code just, you know, dropped inside. It's not even using the Python API or anything. It's, you know, the pure JSON interface, copied and pasted there and clean up a little bit. So I think it works, but I mean, people is using it, but somebody was complaining it's not fast enough. So I think that's why, you know, all this refactoring of the code, the creation of the Python API as well, to try to streamline a little bit the computation, basically.
actually unable to open it. I get some error, but did anybody try using it? Because somebody recently asked where they can find the
I think it was
plugin.
Megan. Yeah. No, Megan, you recently asked.
Yeah.
But were you able to open it? You said you opened it, that you had 3 nodes, right? Like,
I
or somebody
have,
else, or
yeah,
somebody
whatever
else said it.
version I have, I mean, it all works. You know, I have all access to all the nodes in Grasshopper.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played with it in ages, but I opened it and I have access to them. And then,
Yeah,
but
no, it
it
was.
doesn't match the GitHub.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was this other guy, Arthur Villarino, who said there are only 3 components inside the first window. So he managed to install it and run it.
Well, there's 2, oh, I should open it again.
Actually,
There were like 2 tabs and there's only 3 components in one of them and a lot more in the other one, I think. Let me open it again.
Okay. I think there were only 3 components. One was the link, the other was the project. The other was, I don't know, classification, I think.
you had a handshake, the
The
handshake
handshake,
component.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we should change it to fist bump if it's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 tabs, one called Tapir, or however we pronounce this, and then the other one is ArchiCAD API.
Yeah, I think the ArchiCAD API is the version from Grzeg. So that
Okay.
is the original version that should have a lot of components.
Yeah,
inside.
it does.
Yeah. If you drop any component into the canvas and you double click, you will be able to see the code inside. They are basically open Python components.
So then what's your vision for how this tool would work in the end? Like what would the user need to install?
Well, I mean, I guess what we're trying to do is basically overwrite the first version So what should happen, as I understand, the ArchiCAD user will need to install the add-on from the ArchiCAD add-on, because that's going to enable all the new commands. Then basically, I'm not sure if we need to copy the Python API into the Rhino. I think we need to install the Python API into the Rhino, whatever Rhino version you have, and then it's basically get the plugin from Food for Rhino, I think. No, am I wrong? Or
yeah, can it be like a download from Food for Rhino and not have to like find all the folders to put the files?
Yeah, well, I think the idea is to use the package manager in Rhino, so that should be the way. The only thing I'm not so sure is that when you use the package manager, does it install the Tapir Python API in the right folder or not? That's the part that I'm not very familiar with.
I think that's the part we're trying to address with the compiled plugin. Because everything is just packaged into one file, and if you use the package manager, it's already there. You don't have to do anything. Basically, you just have to like reload grasshopper, and it's going to be there.
So that's the compilation part is basically that, not bundling everything into the okay. So then you need to do two things basically: go to the package manager in Rhino and then install the add-on for ArchiCAD. That's really that.
That sounds straightforward.
For you, I mean, yes.
For somebody who has trouble with these things. It's funny because I'm tech savvy in our office, like comparatively, but just not, I don't have like the programmer mind. Yeah. I'm trying to learn Python, but
it's hard.
So we have good news. The problem was my system thought that the plugin is virus, so it was blocking it.
Fantastic.
Because this is the version I downloaded from the GitHub. So we have like 3 tabs actually. I forgot, it's been a long while, but it's good. So it's the connect. So it's not the handshake, I guess. Like if hypothetically, if I have the ArchiCAD open, it should automatically connect, and it should give you details about the file name, the file info.
Fantastic.
This one, these are just some playful components, just trying something, but this is more useful. We have the bounding box. We have like get elements. I think you also have get selected and get all, like you can switch between which one you want.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
Get element. This is highlight elements.
Yeah.
So basically, like once you have the elements, you can like give, and this is, I think it's the S color is selected color and U color is unselected color. So you can color both. I think this might change because I noticed recently the command was also changed, updated. So I think something might have to be done here. Get elements by classification. Yeah, probably this and this can be just one component. So here we have like get selected, get all. We can have, we already planned this. It's not implemented.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So if we select this, then the inputs and outputs change. So basically you get the component just transforms. And get classification systems. I remember we were talking that like once you drop this component, you create a value list and populate it, right? That's what we were planning.
Exactly.
Yeah, same for this one as well. I think this part is already done. It's switched off right now because it's not connected to ArchiCAD. It's get classification systems.
Maybe yeah, we need somebody with ArchiCAD to try.
Yeah.
So like, how would I get that compiled version? The compiling, I don't quite understand.
We just have to download it from here. I can paste this link.
And then what
Or
do
you
I
can
go
al-
with?
So basically, you just download it into your
Copy.
special folder inside the
Yeah,
Grasshopper libraries.
it's like it used to be before the package manager.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, no, that's good. So if you go, Megan, if you go to the special folder, and you can get there if you open Grasshopper from the file.
We also have it
So,
here. I'm not sure which version this is.
I think it's an old version.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
I'm
better
not
to
sure.
use the one from the GitHub.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I downloaded that, and then
yeah. So if you go to
Make sure you unblock it.
yeah, I think in Mac there's not
oh
such a
yeah,
thing.
Ah, okay.
right. Okay, I'll see.
So Grasshopper file, and then there's like special folders. You should see something like component folder or something like this. And yeah, there. And just drop it there. Drop it like it's hot.
So as of now, we have this, and yeah, these are the components
Greg's.
from Greg.
That's Greg's version. I think the initial idea should be to get something like this, but okay, this part here we can ignore. This is the BMX API, which is cool, but I think it's out of the scope of Tapir. We can, decide if we want to put it on Tapir or another plugin later. But I think in terms of attributes, the classification. So basically, this we are already done with it, I think, or almost. The attributes.
Yeah, we just combined it to one component instead of three.
Properties. Yeah, I think all of this data serialization, it was basically a way that Greg was trying to streamline basically the flow of information. So I'm not sure it's needed. And data input has some utilities that can be, interesting, like IDs and some filtering systems and stuff like that. We can check. We might. I'm not sure what you guys think, but we might even use something, from Greg's into. I don't know how that will work. If we can just reuse some of the components from the previous version and kind of like package them in like one. Without having to refactor it, or is better to refactor all the code, like get all in the same way?
I think in the long run, it's better to refactor. But if you want a quick implementation, you can do it. For example, as long as it's some of these are clusters, so then it's hard to use them.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's so this one is by
you
type,
have that one. That's the one you have. Get element by type.
Yeah.
So these are related to input, so get information. And yeah, sorry, let me clean the screen.
Yeah, we have this component where you just connect it. You should be able to just extract the code and continue working.
That's cool.
Maybe this helps.
That's cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, so I think from Greg's, basically it's input, So basically get elements, get things, and then it's basically attributes, which in ArchiCAD attributes are like layers, materials, I don't know, composite, like there's like a number of things that we call attributes that maybe it's like creation of attributes and management. So delete, create new, change. And then there is like the properties, classifications. We have already done it. I think you already did this one. Not sure about, I think we got the get classification, but we should basically work towards as well creating classifications or updating classifications. I think that's also so we could have like a classification tab, which basically is get and edit or create new, something like this. Attributes tab, and then properties. Properties are like basically like dictionaries, if you like basically pairs of keys and values, pretty much. So you can create any. It's a little bit like in Rhino, the user attribute. You can create like a new property and feed it with values. In ArchiCAD, that's called custom properties. They have types, so you can get not only strings of text, but you can get like numbers, you can get value list, you can get a number of different. So I don't know if it's a lot different, but that's basically properties. So I think for an ArchiCAD user, basically reading properties, editing properties, existing properties, and then creating new properties, that would be cool. Or well, basically CRUD operations, so create, delete, update. And I think that's maybe for a first batch. Well, we have the BCF system that you created that maybe can be implemented too. Although I'm not sure it's something you will use in Grasshopper, but anyway. But I think maybe for a first plugin, these classifications, properties, attributes, and basically get a few utilities like getting elements, highlighting elements, something like this, that could be enough for like a first useful. Yeah, Matthias is saying highlights. Yes, I love highlights. For a first good version, 1.1, or I don't know which one it will be, but it will be something that it's already useful for basically ditching the previous version and using this one instead fully. I think that would be the goal, no? What do you guys think?
Yeah, seems doable.
Okay. Cool. So what about we do?
Okay, I think we also have to update the project on GitHub so that we know like what is actually completed, what is pending, so that like if somebody is contributing, they can like
to close issues. Yeah.
I've closed a few issues. I think other people are also doing it, but maybe not in an organized way. So it would be good. Yes, I agree. Basically, that's for everybody to know, is basically the GitHub project. So here, is it here? Yeah, roadmap. So basically, this is the roadmap that we established like some time ago. And yeah, these are by Victor, I think, Tibor. So there's a few ways to see it, but basically, yeah, this is the roadmap that we established. So maybe it should be good to. Okay, these are closed. Can we see them by open and close? How do you see that? Maybe Kanban incoming in progress review. Sorry, here. So backlog, create property groups and properties, create classification system and items. These are all, I think, for the C++ people. I'm not sure for the grasshopper side. This, I've done it, by the way. How do I close this? Yeah, okay, done. Okay, sorry, it didn't. So
Is
when
the status, maybe the status on the right?
status,
Up a little bit. It's blue, incoming. Up. Yeah, that, no, down.
right
That,
here. Sorry,
yeah.
done. Fantastic. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, so maybe should we, so these are yours, maybe by contributor could be a bit easier to say, no? Create documentation for Python package, bug reports, complete JSON API. I think this is done, maybe, no? This is the
I'm not
official, I
sure,
guess.
but let's keep it open. I will check and I will close it.
Okay, issue with the classification system hierarchy, documentation to create grasshopper component, documentation to extend Python package, create documentation for grasshopper component.
Documentation.
That's duplicated or not? No, seems duplicated. Huh? And basically these, I think, are for the C++ people. So what do you think, Koshik? Maybe we can list here the nodes from Grzeg that should be implemented, or that maybe are still missing, and we can see if we can start distributing them, something like this. Okay, I think I can do that, or me and Grzeg can do that. And yeah, let's see. Okay, so basically we agree on that. It's basically complete. This should be something like complete Greg's version in a compiled format. So basically those nodes, I think maybe I don't know, maximum 10 more, something like this. So I'm just gonna put something here, just like, sorry, I changed this to Spanish for some reason. Maybe 10, around 10 nodes. Do you wanna, maybe in order to close the meeting, maybe for today, we can do another one some other time, but maybe we go through one or creation of one node, and maybe the process of, if somebody does this, what will be the process after, creating a few nodes, what's to be done if, the compilation, and maybe if we need to archive something on the GitHub side or something like that, what will be the process maybe?
Yeah, I also think we should, more than the grasshopper, we have to prioritize the Python package, because it is more testable outside of grasshopper.
Yep.
And we can like phase it out into grasshopper development based on usage, because I feel like if there are more users outside grasshopper, for example, like Swarshock, or even from the console directly, or maybe if somebody needs, we can also have like a GUI version. But I think like we should focus first on the Python part, because there's lots of commands which already have been implemented on Victor's side, and they're pending on the Python side.
I agree. Yeah. Okay.
And then in terms of future development, you know, I have some Python scripts that we developed that have some features that I don't think are available in the plugin yet, so maybe they'll be useful. We could go over those at some point. And then I definitely have like wish list items I could add to the you know, the roadmap. However you want to do that.
Yeah. I think we can start adding into the roadmap, and you know, maybe one of us can start classifying them and prioritizing them as we go. Let's see.
What would be the best way for me to put that together? Should I just like kind of post a list of items in the Discord, and then
Maybe yes.
you can see if maybe they're already on the roadmap. I don't know.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think that's the best way. I am not sure. I also not a user of GitHub full time, so. But I'm not sure you can actually edit, or everybody can edit the roadmap, or I need to kind of add people to the project. I am unsure of that, so I need to check.
Yeah, I guess they have to be some kind of collaborators on the project.
Okay. I need to check, because maybe I can add a few people. And
Yeah, actually, that's a nice suggestion by Matthias. We can add issues and commands, ideas directly into the issues. So if the contribution is like an idea or a code, and if you're comfortable with GitHub, then you can fork the repository and then like raise a pull request. If it's like you need some place to just paste the ideas, then I think the comments, the issues are a good place. You could also have discussions open.
can we see how that works? I think.
Thank you.
Sorry. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
I feel
But there's a
terrible.
requirement. You need to have a GitHub account. That's the only condition. That's the
I
only
think we all
requirement.
have.
I did make an account
Yeah.
for whatever it's worth.
So
And I've posted a couple of days ago about the Git Kraken. It's really useful for newcomers.
Okay.
Really cool tool and pretty, how to say, it's very visualizing the GitHub process within, and it's actually easy to dig in and to see what's happening.
Okay. I'm
Git
gonna
Kraken
install
cool.
it. Yeah.
So either option one is you have the code here, you have the repository here. There's a tab called discussions, and there's ideas, and you can just create a new discussion. You can, I don't know, upload files. You can paste. You can paste code. Should also be formatted, so you can just dump your files, dump your ideas, everything here. And the advantage is when we actually create an issue for that, you can link it with the discussion, so you know like where it started, what's happening. You can like leave a trail of breadcrumbs. This is one way. I would also say that this is the recommended way, because if we start adding more issues, then it becomes like we have so many things to do, but then it's just this is more like our task list, and we do not want it to explode suddenly. So I would prefer to have it in the discussions.
That makes sense. Okay, so I could add to discussions, and then the dev team can like basically go through that and extract what to work on in the.
My suggestion would be to put it on the discussions and maybe drop a line in the Discord channel, because maybe some people are not looking at the rep all the time. So just whoever sees on Discord knows that, okay, in the repository there is already a Python file or whatever it is. So
also, like if somebody posts an idea and we have to discuss about it on Discord, we can always link it back to GitHub. It won't get lost in the comments. So that's also a good point.
that's cool. Okay. Anything else? So you just to make sure, we're gonna prioritize on the Python side, but you don't want to show any grasshopper. Maybe it's not the time now. Maybe in another meeting.
I can show, that's not a problem. Do we have time?
I mean, it's 1 hour now, a bit more than an hour, maybe 10 more minutes.
Sorry, I first have a question related to the roadmap.
Okay.
And I was watching the labels, and I see the project that is like divided in from one part in the C++ development, supporting functionalities that they are not already in the JSON API to port to Python, for example. And then we have another part that this part is developed by Igor and Victor and Tibor and so on. Then we have the Python API that is somehow to port all that functionality from the add-ons part to be able to use it with Python. And then we have the grasshopper part that is making components based on that Python API. So somehow we have three divided workspaces, and they are dependent. And the grasshopper component is dependent from Python, and the Python is dependent from the add-on part.
Correct.
This dependency is take it into account in that roadmap, for example, and more on, for example, looking in the labels. The labels are indicating which of those tasks belong to which of those three main work environments, so to say. For example, the architect command, I guess that is related to porting those functionalities to the JSON API, so to say. And then there is the Python in yellow. I guess that is related to everything related to Python API, and this is grasshopper. This is signed consciously taking into account that we have three work parts, three work environments that are dependent each to other. Because because into the next plan, if the scope or the goal is to arrive to the components are designed by in the first version of Tapir, I think that we can encounter with a lot of subtasks. Maybe ones depend to new add-ons functionalities. Other ones just needs to implement to a grasshopper component the Python API logic. So I think that to organize our work, I think that this is something to take into account, so we can work without waiting to other to make its job to follow.
Yeah. I agree. I'm not sure how to do it myself. Like, what would be the best? Well, it's basically just relabeling the issues, no? That's what you're suggesting. Basically, to label them properly.
Yeah, and I don't know, mainly to know in what part you start working on.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I recall that this from 2 years ago that me one of the one possible path to follow was to start porting all the add-on functionalities that already is exposing the JSON API to our Python API.
yes.
And then
So,
in parallel was started that in parallel work of porting new add-ons functionalities to like a new JSON API or extend the JSON API. And it's like they are like very different work paths. That
so,
for me now it's not clear that they are wrong.
so one thing that I can add, I think, is the grasshopper plugin from Grzeg, and I'm not sure if he's here already or not, but basically it was using only exclusively the existing JSON commands from Graphisoft, which, if I am not wrong, they are all implemented in the current version of the Python Tapir Python API. So that part, it's done, and basically those commands could be already ported into the Grasshopper plugin, unless we want to do something special that it's a bit different from, from the functionality that Grzeg was providing, which was basically reading and writing properties and classifications and so on. So that's what I think that part could be, if somebody wants to work on that, could be a little bit independent, because that part is being already done.
Yeah. It's all based in the JSON API functionalities. So
Yeah, the official. If somebody, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I might not now have all the details, but I think that the Tapir version, the Python Tapir plugin now, we have checked, and it has most of the functionalities from the original Graphisoft, no?
I mean, the Tapir Python Tapir plugin has only custom commands, or I guess I haven't got the question.
No, what I mean is like the Python Tapir API or library. It started basically porting the JSON commands from Graphisoft, the official inside Python, no?
I guess only a few commands are similar with official Graphisoft commands, but mostly, I guess, 80% of commands are new and are not in default library from Graphisoft. For example, issue management, some library management.
That I agree, but what I mean is, if we are only talking about replicating the Grasshopper plugin, the Grasshopper plugin was only using the original Graphisoft. So that's what I mean, that part could be already done.
Got it. Well, it's hard to say. To replicate all the Graphisoft commands would take a time. Probably we could consider some kind of integration of Tapir into.
I think they are there already, Igor. I think Koshik or somebody can open the. Can you open the Tapir API? And because I think he already did it. I think Koshik already integrated them in the Tapir. I think.
In Python model.
Yeah, I also because I think there are two ways to execute the command. One, if it's the default command, then it's wait, let me check.
If you're talking about the Python core module, yep, I guess all the commands are here. I mean, at least the custom ones. But I don't know how they implement in Grasshopper. I haven't opened it for a while.
Okay, let me quickly share.
Mhm.
So inside the command, we have like two methods which handles this. One is the format command. So any default command, like the one provided by Graphisoft, if we have to use this, we format it using this one. And any command that is from us, developed by Victor or Tibor or anybody else, it uses this one. So basically, everything is available. So this is going to be like a superset of what Graphisoft provides, as well as the Tapir. For example, is alive. This is one of the default commands, and this can also be run from Tapir, which means it's also accessible by Grasshopper. So anything that is available in Tapir is also available in Grasshopper. We just have to like decide, do we need it as a component, or do we want it to be accessed through the Python script interface or Rhino script interface, whatever, but it's available, it's there. Similarly, if get product info is also one of the default commands, we also have the ability to run this. And as an example,
So you see, Igor, all of these are the original Graphisoft. There are
Yeah,
not new.
yeah, I got it. Except Timor Send, I guess, and Timor
Yeah,
Receive.
there are
yeah,
some of them are
The
new.
custom.
yeah, this is
Kiwi
from
Archicad.
us.
Yep.
For me, does it make sense to say let's take all the JSON all the commands exposed already in the official JSON API, and let's put it in the Python API, in our Python API.
Yes, yes.
For example,
For
and
starters.
we are not talking about grasshopper, nothing about it, just making possible to make components with grasshopper. The first thing is to have an exhaust. Maybe it doesn't make sense to start exhaustively taking all the commands from the JSON API and porting, because it takes time, and maybe it's not a good time spent. No, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I agree.
But it somehow has some good point, that is that the work to be made is quite clear.
Yeah. And for me, I don't quite understand the benefit of having, I mean, in the technical sense, of having everything inside Tapir or having things separated in different ways. But I think that if you have everything in one Tapir library, it will probably be easier to use, even from Python or from.
Because we are establishing a working process that needs to, for example, for Grasshopper, we are making a process that needs to take the commands from our Python API.
I thought so. I thought that was the idea.
Maybe I should give some context why this was implemented. As Hayato says, I agree. Like we are kind of making redundant code base because everything is already available as a package. But then there is a reason why we have it here. It's because the official package from Archicad is in Python 3 and Grasshopper, because since the initial plan was to expose it into Grasshopper, it is not possible, at least until Rhino 7, it was not possible for us to use any of the Python 3 packages. And that's the reason why we started with importing, like kind of replicating, providing the same functionality as the official Archicad package. But I think right now, there are two things to note. One is Rhino by itself is starting to support CPython, which means irrespective of whether it's Python 3 or Python 2, as long as it's there in the PyPy, you can install it as a package. So it's already available. And the other point is Grasshopper components, which are created from Python. They still do not support CPython. They still use the and Python flavor. So for that reason, whatever we already have, we can retain, but then we can focus new developments on the Tapir, the additional functionality.
Mhm.
And as we get more requests to port them into Grasshopper, we can decide like which ones are important and we can port only them. Because it doesn't make sense to like create a copy of the entire one. I agree with Aito's point here.
But I'm not sure if it makes sense. No? And I agree with you that it was super important the work you done to port to Iron Python.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, the only thing is that the current plugin in Grasshopper, it's quite useless because it doesn't support any workflow that it's fully, like you cannot do, you know, you can read classifications currently and connect to ArchiCAD. So that's a little bit sad because there's a lot of work done. So that's what I meant, that it would be really cool that we could basically take the minimum viable product at least and put it as a, you know, as a compiled plugin to say, okay, this is version 1, and then I agree, we don't do every single function into a Grasshopper plugin, but at least a minimum, no? Like
Yeah.
Establishing what's the minimum, it was kind of like the scope of the call. For me, at least, you know, is read and write classification, read and write properties. That's kind of like minimum.
So
I
somehow
agree.
it say like, let's get sure that all the classification and property commands that are exposed in the official JSON API, let's be sure that they are ported to our Tapir API, and then once this is done, let's develop the Grasshopper components.
Okay, sounds good. And then we can move on from there. And one thing I don't understand quite well is that if we are okay, we do that and we move on. We keep developing the API for Python, which doesn't require to go back to Iron Python anymore. If I am understanding well, we can keep going with Python 3. Is that going to affect the Grasshopper plugin that it's done and will be published in Iron Python? And I mean, like we need to refactor that again. And then the other question is, if we go for Python 3, then I guess back compatibility with Rhino 7 would be an issue.
So no one know, at least in my opinion, because we are not migrating to Rhino. I mean, Python 3. Like we are using Python 3, but then we make sure it's backward compatible. For example, like in Python 3, we have like f strings, which are like convenient, but there are also other way to do the same thing, like format strings in a different way in the older version.
Okay.
So we stick to the older version so that you have support to both the older one and the new one.
Okay.
I think we already have a Python package published. I'm not sure, but the idea is you maintain one code base, one Python code base, which is compatible with the maximum number of versions. And as a fact, we know if we use Python 2, it's going to be compatible with Python 3. And for Grasshopper, you need Python 2. But internally, we can switch. Like, for example, even in the input statements, there's a check to check, like we're checking if it's running under Python 3 environment or Python 2 environment. So you can do certain checks during runtime and modify the functionality. So it shouldn't be a huge problem.
Okay. So then we have a plan, basically basically continue developing the Python API, and then in parallel make sure that all the classifications and properties are enabled in the from the original Graphisoft package are into our Tapir, in order to complete a minimum viable product for Grasshopper, at least to release a version that can do at least one thing or two things.
Yeah.
Right? I think that would be cool, at least. Yeah.
probably, I don't know, probably a lot of sexy things that are coming out, like highlighting elements, or I don't know, maybe retrieving the 3D geometry that is still not there, but maybe those things should wait until arrive to Grasshopper. Yes,
sure. Well, the highlighting is already implemented by Koshik in Grasshopper, so that was already there. Yeah, but we can refrain of doing the cool things, but at least the basic ones, right? Yeah. I mean, the full idea, I think, just, I don't know, a little bit is for Koshik, but to give you context, so the Graphisoft official live connection with Grasshopper, it's good. It's limited, but it's basically good for creating geometry. Full stop. Okay. It's not good for, and it's good for checking, I guess, checking values. But that's it. No? If you really want to do proper BIM management or Q&A, or you need to be able to access existing elements that have been modeled natively in ArchiCAD by people that have no idea what Python is, and the savvy guy will get into the elements, be able to run checks compared to whatever requirements, and then change whatever needs to be changed in existing elements. So that's completely out of the scope of the current live connection, which is focused, as I said, in creating cool geometry, right? Rhino Grasshopper geometry into ArchiCAD. So that's the part that I think a lot of people are excited about in with Tapir, which is the fact that you can run checks and do stuff in existing buildings. So yeah, that's my my point. No, IDs, classifications, properties. That's kind of like the trinity of BIM. No, having these three things under control and being able to run automatic checks and whatnot. That's what people really want. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Less than that, I don't think people will use the plugin. Okay. Sorry, I don't know if it was like a little bit too dark, but I think it makes sense. And honestly, I think most of the work is done already, which is creating the foundation, creating the template, creating the
Framework.
the framework. So now it's I don't know, if you do one command per day, it takes how many days? 1 month or one week? I don't know. It's basically organizing a little bit the work, no? So it shouldn't be too hard.
I have a
Awesome.
question for Igor.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're familiar with ArchiCAD, right? Like you use ArchiCAD.
Yep.
Okay. So for me, creating the commands is not the bottleneck. For me, like getting samples and getting the code tested was the hard part. So would it be possible, like if maybe I can coordinate with you to get some samples, like specific samples to test specific scenarios? So then I think it will be like a little bit faster.
Yeah, not a problem. Sure.
Yeah.
Super. I will make a list with Jorge, and like we'll prioritize which commands go first, and yeah, let's see. I also have to set up like install ArchiCAD, and I'll get the basic setup done, and then I'll reach out to you.
Yep.
Fantastic, guys. Well, 1.5 hours, maybe time to go. But thanks a lot, Koshik, especially you, that you were on the spot all the time today. So thanks for that, and thanks guys for coming live from everywhere. yeah, it's very exciting. Hopefully we can make it work, and more exciting will be get more people involved, so this can run a little bit more, you know, more smooth. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you all.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
See
you.
ya.
Yeah, let's
Thank you,
Stay connected.
everybody.
Yeah, bye,
See
bye.
you. Bye-bye.